Today we're going to look at an Excel function called the Vlookup. What the Vlookup does is it will look at a specific cell that you give it to reference on a table. So when it looks at that table, it's going to know what sort of value to return based on which column of the table you want to see. So let's say that you've started a bakery and you've started making a few recipes on a spreadsheet. As you were filling in these recipes for these two cakes, you put the items that you need and put the quantity, but you forgot the unit of measure. You were just kind of referencing over here on the side. You knew the quantity that you needed, but you didn't fill it in. And you have many more than these two examples that I have here. So to make it easy for those who are creating your cakes, you want to make sure that they know the units of measure and they don't have to continue referencing these tables. So an easy way to do that is with a Vlookup. So we're going to hit our function button up here at the top. I'm going to use a Vlookup. And then the lookup value is asking for which cell do we want to reference. And we want to see this cell right here, our item cell. Okay. The table array that we're going to be looking at is our item and unit of measure here. So this whole table we're going to look at. We want to make sure that this is an absolute value reference so that no matter where this cell is copied to, this formula, it's going to know exactly where that table is. It's not going to move with it. Okay, the column index number is what column do we want to actually return. So because we're wanting to see the unit of measure get returned, we actually want to have 2 here for the second column. And the range lookup is asking, are we finding something between two different values, or are we looking for an exact match? Because we're looking for the exact match, we want to see false. So the exact match is saying, if I see flour here, I better see flour over there, or it's not going to work. Okay. So if we say OK, notice that cup is returned. Okay, we can copy this all the way down to the very bottom, and all of these are going to be referenced with the specific unit of measure that they have here. Now this says not available because it didn't see red velvet cake over there. There wasn't an exact match, so we can just go ahead and delete that. Okay, another example that you can use for a Vlookup. This is a kind of a more complex spreadsheet. This is kind of a payroll calculator so that you can actually enter in hours worked, the pay rate, if they're married or single, and it's going to total up exactly how things work, the kind of deductions they're having, etc. So we need to get a specific tax rate. And tax rates are complicated. It's based on whether you're married or single and how much money you make. So it needs to know, based on how much money we made, which tax rate to return. So this is actually used with an if statement. If you don't know what an if statement is in Excel, you can look up a different video for that. It basically asks a question. So the first part is asking if the cell C5 says the text married or not. If it does, we're going to return a Vlookup. So the Vlookup is on this cell C33, the adjusted income. And the table array that we're looking at is our married tax rate income. Okay, and we want to return the second column, that's our number 2, which is the rate column. And then we actually want it to be a range lookup, so we're going to put true in here instead of false. Now the reason it does that is 2311 is not on this table, so we need to find it between two different values. So because it's between 1450 and 5892, it's going to return 15% tax rate. Okay, now let's say that our cell C5 up here didn't say married, it said single. Then we're going to return a different lookup because the original question ended up being false. So the second Vlookup is still going to look at our C33, but it's going to return the single income tax rate and give us the specific percentage out of that second column. Okay, so these are a couple of ways that you can use a Vlookup, and I hope this helps you out.